चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
जय।
नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की
जय।
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय।
श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की
जय।
मथुरापुरी वृंदावन धाम की
जय।
गंगा माई जमुना माई की
जय।
तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की
जय।
श्याम वेद भक्त वृंद की
जय।
गौर प्रेमानंदे।
हरि हरि बोल।
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्णा।
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्णा।
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्णा।
All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari.
हरे हरि बोल।
So today we are reading Canto 1, Chapter 19 and text number 19 also. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
So I will read the verse 3 times and then you please decide. Maharshayo ve samupagataye prashasya sadva iti anumodamana uchuhu prajanu grahashila sara yaduttama shlok gunabhirupam. Maharshayo ve samupagataye prashasya sadva iti anumodamana uchuhu prajanu grahashila sara yaduttama shloka gunabhirupam. Maharshayo ve samupagataye prashasya sadva iti anumodamana uchuhu praja nugrahashila sara yaduttama shloka gunabhirupam. Please recite.
महर्षयो वै समुपागताये प्रशस्य साध्वैति अनुमोदमाना उच्च प्रज्ञो ग्रहशीलसारा यदुत्तम श्लोक गुणाभिरूपम। हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण।
महर्षयो वै समुपागताये प्रशस्य साध्वीत्यनुमोदमाना ऊचु प्रजानुग्रहशीलसारा यदुत्तमश्लोक गुणाभिरूपम्।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे
महर्षयो वै समुपगताये प्रशस्य साधवित्यनुमोदमाना ऊचु प्रजानुग्रहशीलसारा यदुत्तम श्लोक गुणाभिरूपम्।
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mataji.
महर्षयो वै समुपागताये प्रशस्य साध्वैति अनुमोदमानः ऊचु प्रजानुग्रहशीलसारा यदुत्तमश्लोक गुणाभिरूपम्।
Hare Krishna. महर्षयो वै समुपागताये प्रशस्य साध्वीत्य अनुमोदमानः ऊचु प्रजानुग्रहशीलसारा यदुत्तमश्लोकगुणाभिरूपम्.
Anyone else? Okay, so let us start word to word translation. Maharshayah, the great sages. Why? Is a matter of course. Samupagataha, assembled there. Ye, those who. Prashasya, by praising. Sadhu, quite all right. Iti, thus. Anumodamanaha, manaha, all approving. Uchuhu, said. Praja anugraha, doing good to all living beings. Shila saraha, qualitatively powerful. Yat, because. Uttama shloka, one who is praised by selected poems. Guna abhirupam, as beautiful as godly qualities. Translation purport by Shri Prabhupada ki jai. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, very good. Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common men, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaj Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows. Purport. The natural beauty of living being is enhanced by raising up to the platform of devotional service. Maharaj Parikshit was absorbed in attachment for Lord Krishna. Seeing this, the great sages assembled were very pleased, and they expressed their approval by saying, very good. Such sages are naturally inclined to do good to the common man. And when they see a personality like Maharaj Parikshit advance in devotional service, their pleasure knows no bounds, and they offer all blessings to their power. Into their power. The devotional service of Lord is so auspicious that all demigods and sages up to the Lord himself become pleased with the devotee, and therefore the devotee finds everything auspicious. All inauspicious matters, all removed from the path of progressive devotee. Meeting all the great sages at the time of death was certainly auspicious for Maharaj Parikshit, and thus he was blessed by the so-called curse of a Brahman boy. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namah. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Vedvishvesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam today. And this is very great shloka. Actually, it shows how actually we can raise to the platform of bhakti and our devotional, and how we can increase it day by day. And also it says about the characteristics of the sages, that how they have all the qualities, like Prabhupada is putting all the qualities of the Lord, not the quantity wise, but quality wise is the same as the Supreme Lord. So that's why in the shloka, the Parikshit Maharaj said, Gunabhirupam, he is as beautiful as godly qualities. And it says, before that, it says, Uttama shloka is who is praised by one who is praised by the selected poems. That is Lord Krishna. We get so, all the devotees, all the sages, Mahatmas, they all recite the poems about the glories of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj was like compared to the Guna Virupam. He was looking as beautiful as the God, having all the godly qualities. So in the translation, Prabhupada writes, all the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit. So in this shlok, we are seeing that all the sages who were assembled there, who came once they heard that Parikshit Maharaj is sitting on the Kusha mat and on the southern bank of Ganges and looking north. So looking north is very important because north is most auspicious direction, where we should look. That's why we say when we sleep, we should put our feet, towards the south and our head towards the north. So north, because north is auspicious, we cannot put our feet in the north. So that's why when we sleep, we should see our feet goes towards south, not towards north. So in the last couple shlokas, it is about the praise. The Parikshit Maharaj was being praised by the demigods. When demigods saw that Parikshit Maharaj, immediately after knowing about the curse, as soon as he came in his palace, the one devotee of Samik Rishi, who he sent, and he gave that he is cursed by Samik Rishi's son, that Parikshit Maharaj will die after bitten by the Takshak snake. So as soon as he heard, Parikshit Maharaj didn't oppose that why me, why like this. He didn't try to he didn't try to finish the curse, by different methods, like going to Samik Rishi Maharaj and requesting him, that it was not my mistake, this, I was angry little bit, and I was so thirsty. That's why, he didn't complain, because he thought that this is the Lord's order, Lord want this way. That's why he created this situation. So he took it very happily. That's why Prabhupada is writing in the last line of the purport that thus he was blessed by so-called a curse of a Brahman. Why? So he was blessed. How? By a curse, you can be blessed. But because he knew that he's getting good chance of doing the bhakti, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, so that's why he went to Ganges and all the sages came. And so this was actually Krishna's Leela, he arranged that way. So here the sages actually is written by in the purport that since the sages were naturally inclined to do good to the people, all the sages, they have this kind of quality that they do all the time good for the people. They have no enemies at all, actually. So whatever the activity the sadhu purush or the pure devotees do, they do for the benefit of all the people in general. So when they saw that Parikshit Maharaj was actually sitting now and all the sages are getting there, and Samik Rishi Maharaj and Suta Goswami is going to recite Bhagavatam. So they all became so happy, and they were expressing their approval for Parikshit Maharaj's decision to fasting till death, not drinking any water, not sleeping, not taking any rest even for 1 second, hearing, because he had only 7 days and he wants to hear every second. He wants to use it, every second of it, in the hearing the glorification of the Supreme Lord and the thinking about the Lord continuously. And that's what he did. And then he went to Golok Vrindavan. So this is the beauty. So Parikshit Maharaj knew that he has 7 days, but we do not know how many days we have. So we should be very careful, and we should try to do as much as bhakti as possible, actually. So they were expressing, all the sadhus were expressing their approval by saying, very good, very good. They were saying, sadhu, sadhu. naturally the sages are inclined to do good for the common man, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. So all the pure devotees, they have all the good qualities, godly qualities actually, of the Supreme Lord, not in quantity, but in quality, definitely, like the drop of sea water and the whole sea they have. So whole sea water has the same quality, but so we have just all the pure devotees has the same qualities as the Supreme Lord, but not quantitative wise. So all the sages were, therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaj Parikshit, a devotee of Lord, and they spoke to him as follows. So next verse we will read what the sages were saying to Parikshit Maharaj. So in the purport, Prabhupada is writing, the natural beauty of living being is enhanced by raising up to the platform of devotional service. So actually people think, the beauty of our beauty, will be enhanced by this artificial things, like going to the hairstylist and things like that, and the beauty parlor and all those things, but they actually do not enhance our beauty. The real beauty is inner beauty. And the way we act, the way we behave. So that is our real beauty. So real beauty will be enhanced only by the devotional service. There is no other way. Maharaj Parikshit was absorbed in attachment for the Lord. So all the time, all remaining 7 days, he completely, fully submerged in the activities, thinking about the Supreme Lord and hearing the Katha by Sukadeva Goswami. Seeing this, the great sage assembled were very pleased when they saw that Parikshit Maharaj gave up his kingdom so fast, without thinking even a second that what will happen to my son or what will happen to my wives or all those things, what will happen to my kingdom, nothing. He remembered what is my aim to receive the love of God. And the way only to receive that is to sit, to hear the Katha and meditate on the Supreme Lord all the time. So that's why he did it. That's why all the sages were approving. They were saying, sadhu, sadhu. Such sages are naturally inclined to do good for the common man. And when they see the personality like Parikshit Maharaj advance in devotional service, their pleasure knows no boundary. So the sadhus actually, when they see that somebody is growing in Krishna consciousness, they become very happy actually. It gives them, that is their pleasure actually, that somebody, so they do all the benefit for the general public, they want to take more and more souls to Krishna. And they offer all the blessings to their power. Whatever power they have, they give all the blessings to that person, who is advancing in the devotional service. So when Parikshit Maharaj was doing that, all the sages assembled there, they all blessed actually the Parikshit Maharaj. The devotional service of the Lord is so auspicious that all demigods and sages up to the Lord himself became pleased with the devotee. So they all, the sages and all the people assembled there, even Lord Krishna, all the demigods, everybody, they became so pleased with Parikshit Maharaj. Because the devotional service is so good, as soon as person starts devotional service, and it should be pure devotional service, but that service, actually pure devotional service, immediately get the devotee gets a relief from all the miseries of the life, all kind of material distresses. Distresses goes away at once. Like once we start eating the food, put food in the mouth and goes in the stomach, that within that second, our hunger actually satisfies. That slowly our hunger gets satisfied. We feel good, if we are very hungry, and we get nourished right away. So that's why devotional service is known as kleshagni. It removes the clashes, all the clashes of our life. Also, it is known as shubhada. It automatically puts one in transcendental. It is a big service, is the beginning of all the auspiciousness. So all the auspiciousness comes to as soon as we start our devotional service. But that should be pure only, because these are the characteristics of pure devotional service only, not like just like namabhas we do in the beginning, so that should not be like that. But pure devotional service actually gives supada, all the auspiciousness in our life. So pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. So all the pleasure comes immediately to the pure devotee. He need not to look for pleasures, all super pleasures comes in that devotee. That's why devotional service is known as Sandrananda Visheshatma. And those in pure devotional service actually derive even the concept of liberation. So liberation looks actually very lowly in front of the pure devotional service. Liberation doesn't have value because devotees actually want to serve the Lord. So it doesn't matter for them whether they live in this material world or they go to Golok Vrindavan. It doesn't matter to them as long as they are doing the pure devotional service. So that's why pure devotional is known as Moksha Lagukrata. Laguta Krata. So that's so these are all the characteristics of the pure devotional service. And it brings all auspiciousness to the devotee. All his inauspiciousness matters are removed from the path of progressive devotee. So that's why it is known as Kleshagni. It goes, all the inauspicious things goes away from the devotee's life, who is progressing in the devotional service. Meeting all the great sages at the time of death was certainly auspicious for Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit, like we read last Sunday, that Maharaj Parikshit, when he saw all the devotees there, that all the sages came and all the Narad Muni and Vyasdev, everybody came, Parikshit Maharaj was so happy. All the demigods were present there. They were actually, we read in the last shloka, yesterday's shloka, that they were actually making sound with the different musical instruments and also showering the flowers from the upper planetary system. So we can see, how happy everybody was when Parikshit Maharaj started this thing. Suppose, opposite to that, if Parikshit Maharaj was stayed in the palace, and the crying, I'm going to die in 1 week, so we can imagine the situation, but he didn't do that. He was a pure devotee, so he immediately thought, how I can raise my devotional service and go back to Godhead, how I can get the love of the God. So that's why, thus he was blessed by so-called a curse of the Brahman boys. So the Parikshit Maharaj, by his pure devotional service, he changed the curse to the blessings of the Lord. So a devotee can do anything actually. So I will just, some points I will like to put forth how we can raise the platform of devotional service actually. And also what are the characteristics of the sadhus, characteristics of pure sages, pure devotees actually. So if we want to raise our bhakti and we want to actually progress in our bhakti, what we should do, we should actually do in our spiritual life, we should actually develop the taste of Nama Ruchi. Because we chant, but we chant as a matter of like, I have to do it because I promised to my Guru. But that should not be the reason actually, because I promised to my Guru. Our reason for chanting should be that I really want to chant and I have the taste. We have to develop the taste actually in chanting. So that chanting will be very good. If we have that taste, then our whole focus will be actually centered in the Nam Jap. Otherwise, our mind flickers, when we chant, we see how our mind goes here and there, 10 different places, at the same time. That what I'm going to do today, or I have to meet this and this person. So those things should not happen, but what that can happen only when we have really Nam Ruchi. So then actually, if we have Nam Ruchi, then our focus will not get diverted. So many diversions, So what is the center of the bhakti? Center of the bhakti is actually Nam Jap. That is whole focus of our spiritual life actually. That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita says the Tar Madhya Sarva Sreshta Nama Sankirtan. So out of all the devotional service, actually, Nam Sankirtan is the best. But Nam Sankirtan should be, second line it says, Niraparada Nam Loe Paye Premadan. We can only get the love of Godhead by Niraparada Nam Leo. We have to do it without any offenses, offenseless chanting. Then we can get love of the God. So, for example, Prabhupada says that if somebody suppose have diabetes and he's taking medicine for diabetes, he either taking insulin or taking some pills for diabetes, but at the same time, actually, he loves eating sugars, he eats 8 gulab jamuns, like gulab jamuns were made in the yesterday's Rath Yatra, very nice, very tasty gulab jamun. If somebody eats 8 gulab jamun every day, then what happens? Then even if he's taking medicine, his diabetes is not going to cure. Similarly, when we do the chanting and when we do different kind of Shravanam, Kirtanam, all these things, but if we don't have the pure focus on bhakti, the taste in the Nam Japa, then our Nam Japa will not be effective. Similarly, like the diabetes, diabetic patient, if he takes 8 gulab jamuns every single day, then even if he's taking medicine, it's not going to cure his diabetes. Similarly, we cannot get cured from this material disease, what we have, as it will not work actually. So any progress we want to make in our spiritual life, we should be very careful about Nam Aprad, Jiva Aprad, Seva Aprad, Dham Aprad, all these apradhs. We have to actually be very careful, that we don't commit any of these apradhs. And if we take care of all these apradhs and then we chant, our chanting will be very powerful actually, very, very good. And then we can actually definitely increase the platform of our devotional service. So Bhakti Miron Thakur says that we should actually produce the environment that we properly chant the Lord's name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, without deviating our mind 10 different places. Because actually inarticulate chanting is the root cause of all other apradhs. So we have to be very careful about what we are chanting and what kind of devotional service we are doing. We have to have full focus on the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we will not be able to do proper bhakti. So anyone actually who wants to make advancement in spiritual life, he has to do certain things. First thing, we have to understand that we are not this material body. So we should not be very much focused on the needs of material needs. Of course, we have to take care of our body, because this body actually is the platform, but is the via media we perform bhakti. If we don't have body, then it will be very hard for us to do the bhakti. We perform and we have to keep our body little bit strong. So we have to eat, we have to drink. So we have to take care of our body, but mostly we should not have the dehatmika buddhi, that this bodily conception we should not have. We should have a Krishna consciousness and think more about Krishna. And then we should not worry about sense enjoyment, but worry about if we should get very happy, when we do chanting properly, when we read the book and we hear good classes, by all different devotees. So that should make us happy. So this kind of life will actually make our lives on higher platform. So here we are seeing Maharaj Parikshit actually, he was very smart, he didn't have any like Jnana Mishra Bhakti or Karma Mishra Bhakti or Dhyan Mishra Bhakti, he was doing pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the attempt of Maharaj Parikshit was actually very glorious. That he was hearing continuously from pure devotee like Sukdev Goswami and meditating on the Lord all the time. So because this is the best path actually for increasing our bhakti, so we should actually follow that path, what Parikshit Maharaj did, listen very, very attentively and meditating continuously till his death, So he actually set a proper example for all of us that how we can perform bhakti. Other paths, do not have the clear conception like karma yoga or jnana yoga or dhyana yoga. This has no proper goal. They do not know actually what to achieve and how to achieve properly. And they do not have proper conception of who is the goal of spiritual practice. So when we don't have the proper goal and we do not know how to achieve it, then it's useless actually. It's not that good. Like somebody is going to school and you ask him, why do you go to school? And he says, I don't know. So what kind of answer is that? So he doesn't know. So these karmi people do the same thing. They do not know what is the proper goal, what they have to achieve. So we should actually have the proper goal that I have to achieve Krishna Prem, and we should know properly how we can get that. Then we can reach to the goal. If we do not know the goal, how we can reach there? So in this shloka, actually, the sages, we see that they were very pleased to see that Parikshit Maharaj was doing so right thing. And they, by seeing his progress, they were getting all happy. So actually, sages gets happy when somebody take up the devotional service and the mission given by Supreme Lord as per Bhagavad Gita and other literatures, also by his Guru Maharaj. So actually, Guru Agya is the sarvopari. It is the we should follow that Guru Agya, keeping it like our life and soul. So then we can progress very good. So it's one example I read that Prabhupada actually had a servant. He was very, very good. He was traveling and doing Prabhupada's laundry. He was doing massage. He was typewriting the letters for Srila Prabhupada, doing all the correspondence, reading his different letters to Prabhupada. He was serving Srila Prabhupada very, very carefully, very nicely. So, but one time Prabhupada saw that he's so much advanced, and he can do so much, but he has so much potential. So Prabhupada sent him to go to European country and go and preach there. But the devotee was thinking, in that Prabhupada is actually shivering me from his service, and he was getting a little upset. But that devotee was very focused, so he went to European country. He translated Prabhupada's books in different languages, and actually he preached, opened several centers, and Prabhupada was very happy. So when he returned back to meet Srila Prabhupada said to him that you were thinking, I know you were thinking that why I send you out, not kept you in my service, but you have so much potential. I actually want this Krishna consciousness to spread all over the world, so, and it can be done only by the sincere devotees like you. So similarly, like Parikshit Maharaj, we can see, how sincere he was. So sincere devotees should actually take up this responsibility to spreading the Krishna consciousness all around the world and use his talent of whatever God-gifted talents, to increase the Krishna consciousness. And that way only this movement can grow. Otherwise, it will be hard. So if we see the characteristics of sadhu, so it is given in the third canto, 25th chapter and 21st verse, that sadhus are titikshava. Titikshava means they are tolerant. They can tolerate anything comes to their life. They don't blame other people. Like Parikshit Maharaj didn't blame that why he got cursed or something like that. He was actually just took it as God's mercy on him. And other characteristics of sadhu is Karunika. They are very merciful actually. They keep mercy on all Jiva souls. They are also explained as they are Shruhad. Shruhada Sarvadehina. They are friendly to all living beings. Whosoever, all Jiva souls, they try to be very friendly, And then other characteristics is Ajada Shatravaha. That means they are inimical to none. They have no Shatru at all. They have no enemies and they are friendly to everybody. And they are Shanta. Shanta means they are very, very peaceful. All the time peaceful, they never get angry. Because sometimes, small things, we get angry so fast, that why he told me like this or why he did to me. And other characteristics is Sadhava. They abide by all the scriptures. So whatever scriptures said, the characteristics, we should have, we should try to develop those characteristics. And then pure devotional service can come to us. And they are sadhu bhushan. They are adorned with the sublime characteristics of a sadhu. So these are the characteristics of the sadhu. So Srila Prabhupada gave lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam verse 325-24 in Mumbai on November 24, 74. And he said that in the class that the Krishna's representative is sadhu. Therefore, it was the verse about Kapil Dev, he was explaining his mother, how the sadhus behave, how the characteristics of sadhu. So he used the word ete sadhavaha. He described the symptoms of sadhu. And in that verse, in that chapter 25th, there are last 3-4 verses, they describe the symptoms of the sadhu. So everything should be accepted by the symptoms or characteristics. So when we see sadhu, we should see his characteristics. What are his symptoms, Not anyone comes and says that I'm sadhu, He's not actually sadhu, We should not say that he's sadhu because he's dressed up like sadhu. Prabhupada is saying that sadhu is not a person, who dresses like a sannyasi and having his 3 dozen women with him all the time. So what is the sense of that kind of sadhu? He's not a sadhu. So sadhu, we should actually see what are the characteristics of sadhu, and if that devotee has characteristics of that thing, then he is the real sadhu. Similarly, incarnation of God, not that anyone will come and say that I'm incarnation of God, because we see even in Krishna's time, people were trying to imitate that I'm God, I'm Krishna, you are not Krishna, like that, So this is nowadays, there are so many people say, oh, he's incarnation of this, he's incarnation of this. So people are not incarnation like that. Incarnation should be seeing according to Shastra. In Shastra, like even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, these Shastras were written thousands and thousands of years ago, but we can see there are many, many shlokas, more than 50-60 shlokas. I have seen, there is prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that how he will come and what color he will have, where he will appear. So all these kind of things. So incarnation, anybody cannot say, oh, I'm the God, or I'm incarnation of this and this. All incarnations are described in the Shastras, and we have to see the Shastra with Shastra Chakshu. Otherwise, we will not get the proper information about that he's the incarnation of God or not. So we have to see the characteristics of God as they are stated in the Shastra, then we should accept somebody, not any uncommon person. Also, we can see in Bhagavatam, in the Chitraketu's description, in the 6th chapter, that when Chitraketu Maharaj got cursed by Parvati Mata, then he accepted right away that this is he didn't retaliated the curse, he was very friendly. He was god brother of Lord Shiva, so he could tell Lord Shiva that Parvati is wrong or something like that, and she should not curse me. And he could have tried to actually mitigate the curse, but he didn't try to do that. He actually rather, he was quite competent to mitigate the curse of Parvati Devi, but he didn't do that. Instead, he humbly accepted the curse and he bowed down his head to Parvati Devi, and he actually, and also Lord Shiva. So this is actually very much appreciated. This should be the standard behavior of a devotee, that they should not actually retaliate for anything. Whatever comes in the way, they should tolerate it, they should accept it. So this is the actually characteristic of the sadhu. We should actually know that who is sadhu, who is not sadhu. So there are different stages actually in our devotional service. The first stage is, beginning stage of cultivation, like what we do in the sadhana bhakti. So this is the beginning of the cultivation. And second thing is realization of the service. We should actually realize what kind of service will be beneficial to us in our spiritual progress. And the third thing is attainment of love of God. So these are very progressive stages actually, and doesn't come in one day. This is the whole lifetime, not just one lifetime. It may be many lifetimes. Then only we can get all the stages, how they are described in the nectar of devotion, like raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhava. These stages are not easy to get, but we should just try initially, and somehow or the other we should develop the taste in our bhakti. And once we develop the taste, then only we can actually get good taste of bhakti, and then we can do it properly. Not like Prabhupada gives example, that like one Bharat, the groom party going for the marriage to the bride's house, and they were in the boat, and the boatman didn't release the rope, and then the boat was staying there, and the people were thinking, they were all sleepy, that in the morning we will reach to the bride's house, but in the morning when the sunrise, they saw that they are still at the same place. So similarly, when we do bhakti without attention, without thinking where we are progressing or not, that way we can do our bhakti many lifetimes, still there will be no benefit actually. So we should evaluate ourselves if we are actually raising the platform of our bhakti in our life or not, we are progressing our bhakti or not, are we getting any taste in the bhakti. So those questions we have to ask ourselves. Nobody can answer those questions for us. We have to answer those questions ourselves. We should ask honestly, to our own soul, that how I am doing, if I am getting any taste in bhakti or not. Because once we get taste in bhakti, the material attachment automatically goes away. It doesn't stay there. Because the more we get taste in bhakti, the less and less taste we have in material things. So when we see that our material enjoyment is getting less and less, we are not paying so much attention to attachment and worry more about our devotional service. That means, we are getting taste in the devotional service. So these are the ways to evaluate, and slowly we can progress in the bhakti, and then we will get ecstasy and all the raga, anuraga, bhav. These stages will come gradually, not suddenly. Like Prabhupada gives example of sugar juice, the cane juice, sugar cane juice. So sugar cane juice, when they boil, then slowly it gets condensed and condensed and condensed. So from the liquid form, the water evaporates from that, and then it becomes little thicken, and then becomes more and more thicker and turns into molasses. And finally, it turns into granules and it becomes sugar. And if you get more and more thicker, then it will get rock candy and so on. So that way, our devotional service is also like that. We progress from one stage to other stage like that. And slowly, slowly, we get transcendental love for the Supreme Lord by different stages. Slowly, slowly, it happens. It doesn't, if somebody thinks, that after 1 year of bhakti or 2 year bhakti, I will get the love of Godhead, that's not possible. But of course, it is possible. If somebody does it very sincerely, even in this lifetime, one can get it, as long as we are very sincere with our devotional service. So actually, about the characteristics of a pure devotee, it's very nicely described actually in the 11th canto, 11th chapter, and 3 verses are there together, 29 to 32. And I will just read before I finish end today's class. I will just read the translation by Srila Prabhupada, very beautifully translated. And Supreme Personality of Godhead was saying to Uddhava, "O Uddhava, a saintly person is merciful and never injures others. So we should not give any injury to other. Injury means not bodily injury, but even saying something by bad words, So that's also injures his heart, because that thing sometimes hurts more than anything else, If you slap him, he will tolerate that. But if you say some bad word, some things bad to him, and he will remember for many, many years. He doesn't forget that easy, So even if others are aggressive, we should still be tolerant. So the devotee is tolerant and forgiving towards all living entities. He should forget all the things, he should be forgiving and he should be tolerant. He is free from all envy and jealousy. So these are the characteristics one should develop to be a proper pure devotee. Free from envy and jealousy, and his mind is equal in material happiness and distress. So even happiness comes or distress comes, whatever condition comes, rain, fog, or snow, or severe heat, whatever comes, we should be tolerant. We should be equal in happiness and distress. And he's dedicated his time to work for the welfare of all others. So we should see what is the welfare of all others, as Prabhupada give the Harinam to everybody. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that I alone cannot do it. You all help me. So that's important to give Harinam to everybody, whosoever we can give. His intelligence is never bewildered by material desires. So he should not have any material desires. And intelligence should not go here and there, mind, let me eat this food, let me enjoy this, let me enjoy that, so two different. So we should control, one should control his senses properly. His behavior is always pleasing all the time. A devotee who depends on Krishna is always pleasing. He is never miserable. So devotee lives all the time under the mercy of Krishna. So Krishna is very merciful, and if he sees some devotee is sincere, so that devotee is always pleasing in nature actually, and he has controlled all his senses. He is never harsh and always exemplary. He is free from the possessiveness. He never endeavors in ordinary worldly activity. So his all activities are spiritual activities, not any mundane material activities. He strictly controls his eating, because when we overeat, then we sleep more, and all the bad qualities comes after eating more. So actually, it is advised that we should eat actually whatever we need. Like our stomach is full, suppose in 100%, so 50% we should eat. 50% drink water and leave the 50% space empty. So that is the best way to eat, advised in the Shastras, that how much we should eat. We should never, sometimes we eat good prasadam, up to the, our neck, we eat so much. And so that should not happen, because overeating is not good either. Although it may be prasadam, but still we should not overeat. A saintly person is thoughtful and accept me as only his shelter. So Krishna is saying that Buddha, a pure devotee, actually is accept me only, because Krishna should be the shelter for all of us actually. And he is the only shelter. The only problem is we don't accept that. But Krishna is the only center that devotee should think that we should not take shelter, that this guy will give me this, or this guy will give me this, or this will protect me. Nobody can protect actually. Krishna is the only best protector. And he is steady and noble, even in distressing situation. So whatever situation comes, distressing situation also comes. Actually, the people are known best in distressing situation, how he behaves at that time. Because in good situations, we all behave good. But when the bad situation comes, how he behaves, that's the most important thing. But the devotee should be steady in the distressing situations also. He has conquered over the 6 material qualities, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. So he should conquer all, not think about these material qualities. He is expert in reviving Krishna consciousness of others. One should be expert in reviving the Krishna consciousness. So give the Krishna consciousness and increase their Krishna consciousness. That is his aim of life. And therefore he never cheats anyone. Having taken complete shelter of my lotus feet, a saintly person ultimately renounces ordinary religious duties and worships me alone. He thus considered to be the best among all the living entities. So that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru. So these things, all the time meditate on Krishna. That's actually Krishna says, and we should meditate on him always. So I will end here now, and we have 10 minutes more, so we can discuss more about how we can raise on the platform of bhakti and different qualities of the saintly persons, how a sadhu should behave. So somebody has any comment, questions, we can discuss it now. Thank you very much for joining and listening Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. If anybody has questions, realizations, I think this class is a lot more about realizations. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask or comment on, please just unmute yourself. Bhakta David, Kalpesh Prabhu. Yes, Mother Shamakari.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you so much. It was very nice. Very detailed. One might not be very related, but when you said like about that north direction, so we hear all the time from like astrology and all Vastu Shastra that says that we shouldn't put our head on north side because it is like gravity, something related to gravity. So when you said, it was like a little like question mark. So if you can clarify on that, Prabhu.
The putting our head towards north.
Yeah,
that's north is very auspicious side. We should not keep our feet there. But some bedrooms are like that, are made like that we cannot put on that side. But that's ideal, if we can do. But if we cannot do, that's a different story. That's why, when we make our house, then we should actually ask some people, who knows this Shastra, how to make the building, then in that house, we can make it properly, where the main gate of the house should be, where the bedroom should be, and how the bed should be put in the bedrooms, so those kind of things. So it's just more auspicious, it's not like you cannot do bhakti, if you are putting your head on the south, something like that. Yeah, so it's not the must, but ideally, if he can do, it's better.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. And then I really like that point when you said Parikshit Maharaj knew that he had 7 days, but we don't know how many days we have. We should be serious.
Yeah, we should be more careful, what kind of bhakti we do. And that's very important. We should be more serious and seriously do the bhakti and japa, Yeah, japa is most important, but when we do japa, our mind goes here and there all the time.
Yeah.
And we have to bring it back and bring it back and bring it back. So we should keep actually, best thing, keep photo of Srila Prabhupada, photo of Lord Krishna, beautiful photo of Lord Krishna and Radha in front of us, and just keep looking at them. So our focus doesn't go here and there, our mind doesn't go here and there, but sometimes it still goes. What you can do, but bring it back.
Yeah.
So we know that my mind, I'm thinking about something else, bring it back.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Kalpesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Very much, too many informations. It's very, very well organized. You probably said a lot of things in this class, and how to judge character of the sadhu, what kind of incarnation, where can we rely on the information. So several of them. My thing was like I always try to check my devotion where I am with it, and in my understanding, what I try to understand is like many thing I do for myself is very superficial. Maybe it is outward. I'm looking nice and all those things, but inside there are a lot of issues. Which I realize is. And it is more superficial outward. And the best way of testing myself is like when certain bodily ailment comes, particularly a pain in a bodily parts. At that time, the idea is we want to, by during the death, remember the Lord. Somehow, when I experience those things myself, I'm trying to engage in the activities. I don't know whether I'm fully my mind into that, but trying my best, or I even don't know if I'm doing my best. So knowing like when the what to remember, because the whole attention is now going on the pain, and not really able to focus on Krishna's or Lord name or. So I'm trying to experience, because I have a couple of experience in my whatever limited bhakti I did doing. So what should I do in my current practices where I can really not really focus on the pain and just the frame, as you said, like you mentioned very nicely. If somebody is going to the school, if you ask why are you going, then he says, I don't know. We kind of know little bit it, but we don't know in absolute way. So if Prabhuji, if you can share your experience or from any Shastra.
Well, Prabhuji, we all have pains in our life, and it's not just you, but everybody else has the pain. Many things in the material things, but we should know that this material, we are not this body, so we should really not pay so much attention to these pains, although they come, but we should be more focused. And we have to take shelter of Guru and then follow his instructions, like life and soul. So then actually these pains will be minimized, like Parikshit Maharaj has so big pain, he knew that I'm going to die in 7 days. So how much pain is that? And when one dies, when soul comes out of the body, what is the description? Description says thousands of scorpions are biting at one So even one time one scorpion bites you, my God, pain is so intense, People cry so much that even many yards away, people can hear, half-mile away, people can hear your screamings, when a scorpion bites, so much pain. So we can imagine that when thousands of scorpions bite you simultaneously, how much is the pain? So Parikshit Maharaj is that kind of pain that I'm going to die. And but he tolerated that thing. He immediately gave up and he focused completely on listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should, if we properly focus on our spiritual activity, then material activity goes slowly down, So that is the only way. There is no other way. Yeah, we have to just minimize the bodily needs, because our body needs more and more comforts, That's the human nature. So we have to actually minimize the requirement. Like we can see the example of Raghunath Goswami, he was multi-billionaire. And so, but still, how poorly he was living. He was only drinking just little charge. We cannot imitate him, of course, just few sips of the buttermilk, he was drinking whole day. And in the beginning, when he came, he was taking the rice. People throw away, in Jagannath Puri, even the animals will not eat, he will bring that, he will wash those rice, and boil it, and eat. So he was doing like this, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy that see how he's renouncing slowly these material things, So we have to get detachment from the material things and more attachment to Krishna. But if you are but you cannot get detachment unless you are attached to something. So first thing should be the attachment to Krishna. Then detachment will come automatically. It's not like let me get detached, this thing, detached to this thing. But then we are not attached, then we cannot do that. Detachment will never come. But when we are attached to something, like Prabhupada gives example of a child, if child is holding something very valuable, and if you give him the candy, then he will give up that thing, whatever is in his hand. So similarly, if we have Krishna in our hand and thinking about Krishna all the time, then these material pains will automatically go away. And we read the characteristics of bhakti. The first thing is kleshagni. It is kleshagni is remove all the immediately relief of all kind of material distresses. All the distresses goes away with bhakti. So when we are doing bhakti purely, then all the pains will go away definitely. There's no doubt about that. It's Rupa Goswami saying that, not somebody is our Sampradaya Acharya. We are Rupanugas. Then we should follow what Rupa Goswami is saying, that bhakti has so much power. So we should do that, and see how our pains goes away. Like sometimes we get little pinch, like little staple goes in our finger or something by mistake sometime. And my God, we keep chanting or anything, our attention is focused only on that small prick. Oh my God, I got pricked, so much pain, so much bleeding. One drop of blood comes out, we think so much about that drop of blood and that pain, but yeah, we should not be focused on that. Yeah, rather we should get our focus on Krishna. So Prabhu, I hope you got some answer to your question, but this is a big topic, how to get out of this miseries of the material life, Answer is only Krishna consciousness, nothing else.
Prabhuji, thank you very much for explanation. Yeah, it helped. Of course, attaching is very, we know superficially we chant a name, do kirtan, but how much we are really sincerely and attentively doing, that is the other trick, because mind is so flickering, so much flickering. Our focus is going on the pain.
Yeah. We have to control our mind, and once we give our mind to Krishna, then Krishna will take charge of our life. And then he will give us less and less pains. But we have to be sincere in bhakti, When Krishna sees that we are sincere, he will definitely, he is very merciful. then he will shower his mercy on us. So we should wait for Krishna's mercy, by doing proper, pure bhakti. That's why we read so many different characteristics of bhakta. So we know when we should have desire to get those kind of qualities in us. And then Krishna will be very happy. Sadhu all the time gets happy if somebody progresses. Krishna also gets happy. Same way when somebody comes closer to Krishna. Because we all are children of Krishna. Krishna is looking forward. And that's why he incarnates and comes in material. He doesn't have any business here in material world, but he comes for all the jiva souls actually to take them back, because he's our father, real father, and he wants us back there with him. But we are fools actually who really try to relish this dirty material world. We have to get out of here, and that will be in our favor, And if we do that, try to be more focused on Krishna, and slowly this focus on these material things will get away. They will look like there is no taste in these things, once we become more taste in bhakti. All right, Prabhu, thank you. Nice question. And I hope you got some answers.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. A lot of information. Yes, you said, I don't know, we don't know how long we'll live, but at least each and every minute we should concentrate on God. That's all. That's how I feel.
Yeah, you should.
Luckily, Parikshit Maharaj, he knows that when he is going to leave, but we don't know when we will. So we have to use the time properly.
Time management is very important, because sometimes, we do different kind of activities which has nothing to do with Krishna. We should see each minute, that we are doing Krishna's activities, Krishna conscious activities, like even we cook food, eat, Krishna prasadam, bhakti, read anything we do,
That's true.
we should
That's
relate.
true.
Even going to work, and give our salary, some part of our salary to Krishna's activity, then that's also bhakti actually, working is also bhakti, if we do for Krishna. Yes. So anything we can do for Krishna, and that will be beneficial.
We have to develop that.
Yeah, we have to develop that. We all need to develop that and increase bhakti. Some or the other we have to cultivate that way.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Anyone else has any comment or questions or anything? Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.